they're out to tell you the picture of the world that they represent. The mission of the Epic Times is to chase the truths and facts and prevent people from being misled. The Epic Times is independent. We're not controlled by any special interests, and we never will. The Epic Times is a non-partisan movement. That means we don't stand for any political party. This is a battle between truth and deceit, a battle between forces that would ensnare this country in ignorance, and between a media that wants to present you with the truth.
Get a free trial of our digital subscription. Just go to readepoch.com/cpac.
We'd love to have you on.
We are coming together at a crucial time in our nation's history. America is making great strides towards freedom and liberty, but she also confronts determined foes and faces enormous challenges. Challenges that strike directly at the core principles that all of us here hold so dear. Free enterprise, limited government, individual freedom, traditional values, and national security. Across America and the world, we see where liberalism has left its devastating mark. In homes, in schools, in communities, and in capitals. That's why our work is so important, and it's what the Heritage Foundation is all about. At Heritage, we're not just a bulwark against the left, we're a battleship for liberty. We are determined to guide America to renewed greatness and to take the fight to liberalism. That's why I'm so proud to serve as the Heritage Foundation's president, and why I'm so honored to join with you in the fight for the greatest nation on earth.
Ladies and gentlemen, to open our panel on the topic, Please America, Don't Give Up, let's give a warm Cpac welcome to John James.
Outstanding, outstanding. I understand we're running a little bit behind schedule, so they cut my speech from an hour to 45 minutes, so let's get started. Good morning, Patriots. My name is John James, and I'd like to begin by telling you a little story. I'd like to tell you a story about a little boy who was born in Starkville, Mississippi. He lived directly across the street from Mississippi State University, born in 1941, but he couldn't go there because he was black. Despite growing up in the worst economic inequality, institutional racism that this country has ever known, he refused to allow vulnerability to become victimhood. He never allowed dependency to become his destiny. He paid his way through college. He served proudly in Vietnam. He moved to Detroit in 1971 to start a trucking company with one truck, one trailer, and no excuses, hauling beer back and forth between Detroit and Milwaukee. For the better part of the next decade, he fought government regulation all the way up to the Supreme Court for the right to compete. He worked, he evolved, until he was able to provide a life for his family that was previously unimaginable. He grew an idea into a $35 million company, automotive supply, before a change of management in 2012. That little boy, my father. My father, like so many others who've immigrated from all over the world and from the Jim Crow South for better opportunities, never asked for free stuff. They asked for a fair shot. I am not standing here on this stage because of socialism. I'm standing here because of free enterprise and free will and because self-determination works. When I was a little boy, I was taught to use my blessings to be a blessing to others. I was taught to take something good that you've received and turn it into something greater. I started by leaving home and attending West Point, becoming a Ranger qualified Apache pilot and flying 750 hours combat in Operation Rocket Freedom. to an automotive industry in turmoil, a city in bankruptcy, and helped to grow that $35 million company into a $135 million company under 5 years. I got married, earned a couple master's degrees, and made it for little boys. John is 6, Hudson's about to be 5, and Christian just turned 1. And when I look at my 3 sons, I'm reminded each and every single day that this is the greatest country on the planet. And like America, our stories didn't begin with us. I am the walking result of the American dream, and I believe the American dream is worth fighting for. I believe the American dream is worth sacrificing for. A few of my classmates gave their lives for it. We, all of us, must be willing to continue their fight so that all people have an opportunity, a chance at the American dream. That's what makes America exceptional. 150 years ago, Lincoln warned us, America will never be destroyed from the outside. If we falter, if we lose our freedoms, it will be because we destroyed ourselves. A century later, Reagan warned us, freedom is never more than 1 generation away from extinction. Freedom is not something we pass along to children in bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. Tonight in South Carolina, there will be a primary among Democrat candidates who have been talking about how to con a generation into embracing socialism. In 2020, we must remember that Lincoln did not fight the Civil War to beat the South. He and his party, the Republican Party, stood up to end the physical bondage of black people and to keep this country together. This election, fellow patriots, is not about beating Bernie. This election is about freeing those in socioeconomic bondage in our cities and winning back a generation turning to socialism on our campuses. Listen closely, listen very closely, because I want to be clear, crystal clear. Do not underestimate the appeal of socialism for those whom the status quo has failed. For the American dream to prevail, for us to defeat socialism, for us to save a generation, we can't just say socialism sucks and assume that people will follow us. Stuck Americans don't want socialism. They just want the pain to stop, but it's up to us to offer a remedy that works. We must show them an America where a child's outcome isn't determined by the zip code they're born in, where a good education is attainable and hard work truly does get you ahead. We must show them an America that protects our communities from tyrants without leaving our children vulnerable to terrorists. We must show them an America where a woman has better choices in life or death, where an accident or illness doesn't leave a family in financial ruin. We must show them an America where the son of a slave can become a sharecropper, the son of a sharecropper can become a mason, the son of a mason can become a truck driver, and the son of that truck driver can stand before you here today on the brink of becoming Michigan's first black U.S. senator. To senator in 4 generations, and from poverty to prosperity in 1, and I'll show you the United States of America. I will show you the American dream. We must counter the socialist movement of envy and confiscation with a conservative movement of access and opportunity. We must show this generation that free will and free enterprise benefits each of us without sacrificing compassion and conscientiousness for all of us. We must become the disciples of the American dream and share the good news unafraid with those who are being seduced by lies. That's how we win. That's how America wins. Abraham Lincoln showed us how to stand up to oppression and hold this nation together by sheer force of will. Reagan showed us how to defeat Marxist ideology without firing a shot. President Trump dares us to be great while continuing to tear down barriers and increase access to the American dream for the forgotten in every corner of this nation. But he's not done. And we're most definitely not done. We have a long way to go, and the president needs you. I need you, and most importantly, a generation on the verge of socialism needs you. The hour is hand, ladies and gentlemen, fellow patriots, and by the grace of God and your hard work, freedom will not end with us. The American dream will not end with us. We're just getting started. Thank you. God bless you. Let's go.
Good evening, or morning, or whatever we're at. My name is Steve Overgaard. I live in Alberta, Canada. I love Canada. I'm going to say that right now. But without you guys, Canada would be screwed. 100%. I'm an outfitter, and I live mostly in the bush. My good friend, Dan Schneider, got me to come and speak on behalf of Canadian healthcare. I have first-hand experience of all the healthcare. I live in a small rural town of 3,000 people, but I'll tell you what, my personal experiences with our socialist healthcare is astonishing. Our healthcare system, I hate to say this in a redneck way, it totally sucks. For me, personally, I had 40% blockage of my heart. I was in trouble. I felt sluggish. I was did a whole bunch of medicine. I couldn't feel good. I didn't do anything good in life. My good friend from Ohio got me to go to the Cleveland Clinic because he said I looked like a balloon. He helped me a lot. I went to Cleveland and I didn't have a blockage. The Cleveland doctor said to me, get off the medicine, quit all the medicine you're on, and get on the treadmill. Well, as you can see, that didn't really work. I used to look like Steven Seagal. Now I'm kind of like, I don't know what I am, okay? So anyways, after I went off all my medication, I felt good again. My life was full, I'm happy, I'm raising all my kids. I'm so happy. And that is because of your health care. Your doctors, not my socialist care, okay? The next story I'm going to tell you about. This is very personal. My buddy, Dwight, okay? A big man, he's bigger than I am. He had a broken ankle, okay? He broke his ankle and he needed a pin put into it. Because of our health system, he had to go to bed for 18 months. And he had so much sores, you know, bed sores. He had so many bed sores, he could hardly even move. He stayed there for 18 months. He got gangrene in his leg. So he was in a total bind. I knew this guy, he loved the outdoors, he loved the mountains, he loved everything like him. After he got gangrene, the healthcare system told him, oh, it's another 2 years. You're gonna have to go in bed for 2 more years. Guess what? He cut his leg off. sorry. My daughter was in a car crash and had whiplash, okay? A few months later, she could not, she was very bright, she could not function, she couldn't do the computer, she could not run her family home, okay? She had so much wrong with her, the doctor said it was anxiety, it was stress. They didn't say to her there was something wrong. My good friend again from Ohio said, please come down to Cleveland. They brought Jessica down to Cleveland and found out within 2 days that she was diagnosed with POTS disease, okay? So that means all she had to do was function good and go on to her new life. From then on, she goes down every 6 months to Cleveland. Now you gotta remember, this is all on our dime. We don't have any kind of money or anything except fundraising, private fundraising. After that, she feels way better and she flies down, like I said, every 6 weeks. She is so better, she is raising her family, she's feeling good because of that one friend of mine telling her to go to Ohio and telling her to try American healthcare. Trust me, don't go anywhere. Okay, finally, our babysitter, Dina, was diagnosed with stage 1 breast cancer. Because of the Canadian protocol that takes so long, the PET scans, they basically told her she was class 1 to start with. Because it waited so long, she was diagnosed with class 4, okay? So that was unbelievable. In a few months, because they didn't have no way of treating it, diagnosing it, she went from a class 1 to a class 4. Basically, they told her to put her affairs in order. She had a small family, basically lay down and die. That's what they told me. Thank God that we had a fundraising, a private fundraising for her. Her family was in the oil field, was well enough to go to Arizona. They got the diagnosis in Arizona and went to Vancouver, British Columbia for the medicine. She travels to Vancouver to take the medicine, and it cost her $2,000 out of her pocket because, of course, no insurance and stuff. But unbelievable, she is 100% cancer-free. So they told me I can't, I'm a big BSer, okay? They told me I have to kind of shut this down a little bit. And so if you want to talk later, trust me, she's giddy up time. I'll tell you everything, okay? So I'll end like this. So with social medicine, you will experience the same things that I did. Don't listen to those yahoos. The other guys, I'm sorry, the other guy, do you know who I mean? I don't know. I'm not a big political correct guy, but you know they're no good for nothing. So this is how I'm going to end it up. Thank you so much again. And America, remember, without you guys, Canada would be screwed. Okay?
everybody. I'm here from Seoul, Korea. It's 7,000 miles away from here. I would like to say how important military power is. Let me focus on the importance of military power to confront the expansion of China hegemony and threats. First, I'd like to remind you the year 1969, Nixon Guam Doctrine. By taking advantage of Guam Doctrine, China could get the standing member of UN Security Council and veto power. China also took the chance to expand the power to the new area with the withdrawal of US military in Vietnam, Philippines, and the partial withdrawal of infantry in South Korea. The new communist leader of China has started to push the aggressive partnership with military power and modernization, which is called anti-access and area denial in East Asia and even West Pacific area. All neighboring countries are included in this hegemonic vision of anti-access and area denial. Even Hong Kong, Taiwan, South Korea, and all the islands of 9-line in southern China Sea. Now, China's strategic object is to accomplish the second Guam Doctrine, to get the position of global power with the capability of military projection toward East Asia and even West Pacific area. In line with expanding military power, China has pushed to secure the position of exclusive monopoly power in East Asia. How? By opposing the US South Korea joint military exercise, and by opposing its position of defense-only missile defense system, which is called SAR, in South Korea. Also, by opposing the advance of US military ship in the waters between South Korea and China. In addition, China has taken advantage of North Korean nuclear project to enforce the withdrawal of the US military presence in Korea. North Korean nuclear project is obviously China's strategy. Pyongyang and Kim Jong-un dictator is just acting for China and Xi Jinping. China has persistently claimed, first of all, to exchange the disarmament of the US military with disarmament of North Korean nuclear equipment. Secondly, to exchange the withdrawal of US military with dismantlement of North Korean nuclear bomb and ICBM. When the wolves are talking about peace or denuclearization or end of war declaration, actually it means that the wolves are pushing the demilitarization of the US and South Korea and our allies. Without military build-up, we could not keep the peace, freedom, and prosperity. As the wolves lure the downside and withdrawal of military capability, we have to build up as much more. That's the prescription we have to take from now. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Welcome from Minneapolis, Minnesota, Dala Alaki.
Good morning. Coming from Minneapolis, it's so good to see that many Republicans in one place. My name is Dalia Lapini. I'm an American journalist from Minneapolis. I am a proud conservative, challenging Ilhan Omar in Minnesota's get the house back. I grew up in Baghdad, Iraq. Growing up, my family had everything we could wish for, but we didn't have freedom. It was an Iraq ruled by Saddam Hussein. We could not protest his government. We couldn't complain about things that we weren't happy about or things that were happening in our country. We couldn't mock or make jokes about Saddam Hussein or his family or even his government. We had 2 TV channels, and the government controlled these 2 TV channels. Saddam's regime controlled all the media completely. Naturally, we had no foreign TV, we had no foreign media, we didn't have even any media from the Middle East. That meant that the information we've had was so controlled by the Ba'ath and the regime, the Iraqi regime. The government controlled every aspect of our lives, including the way we think and what we should think. When Saddam's government fought the United States, or Kuwait, Iran, or Israel, we couldn't say no, we couldn't question him about his wars. We couldn't stand up and oppose his wars. We couldn't speak about the regime's corruption or its mass murders of our fellow citizens who were Kurds, and I'm half Kurd. Actually, we were not citizens. We were not citizens. None of us was. The lack of freedom to express feelings and ideas made us hostages. Because if you don't have the freedom to express yourself, any other freedoms don't matter much. If you can't talk, if you can't say anything, nothing matters anymore. Hostages have no choices. They understand the consequences of destroying their captors. Rich or poor, it doesn't matter. No freedom for all. Because we couldn't turn off or turn to our neighbors or turn to our family members because we were so afraid. We couldn't even trust them. Trust your own family. You're scared that would turn you to the Secret Service or the secret police back in Iraq. It made us distrust each other. We didn't only live in fear of Saddam Hussein, we've lived in fear of each other. As Iraqis, we knew that this was not natural. We knew that elsewhere in the countries like the United States or Israel, which we were taught to hate, people could express themselves and without fear, something we didn't learn and we didn't know how to do. They could turn to their neighbors or friends and talk about things and without worrying that they'll be in trouble. Freedom was a forbidden word. Freedom was a word that we dreamt of and we yearned for. In 1988, my family and I fled the country. We didn't tell anybody, we didn't tell our family members, because we were feared that the government would know that we were planning to leave. We left Iraq with whatever we could carry with us. After a couple of years through working in the Middle East in the media, opposing Saddam Hussein, and the greatest blessing of my life, we were able to arrive to the United States of America. We arrived as refugees, and we were so happy. Today, I'm heartsick for this wonderful country that took me and my family and gave me freedom and gave me a bright future. The Democrats and the Democratic Party looks like it will nominate a socialist. Someone who all his life defended and supported the communist states that made hostages of their people. Every one of the countries Bernie Sanders praised, from the Soviet Union to Venezuela to Castro's Cuba, all of them made hostages of their people, and I know the feeling. The countries that Ilhan Omar defends, like Iran, like Qatar, like Turkey, they make hostages of their people. And all of them do not allow the people and they don't give any freedom to the people, especially freedom of speech. Why did we do that? Socialists and communists care about only the equal distribution of material things. They call it economic or social justice. Democrats scream about the minimum wage and about the unfairness, income inequality, and the evil of the billionaires. They never mention freedom. Have you ever heard them talking about any freedom? Yeah, because basically they don't care. They never mention freedom, economic freedom, political freedom, or freedom of speech, because it gets in the way of distributing money and power. The people might object, and they never think that people are more important than their ideology. They are hostile to freedom because freedom makes a mess. Some outcomes are unequal. Some dissenting voices they consider dangerous. I was an American now. I am now an American. By the time I became an American, I was broadcasting to millions of people in the Middle East via horror. I was pushing back on poisonous Middle Eastern outlets like Qatar Al Jazeera, and you all know it. It even now promotes, and I'm talking about Al Jazeera, promotes terrorism, pushes toxic anti-Semitism and anti-Americanism into people's homes in the Arab world. When I was a journalist, I was not like the fake news American media either. They seem to defend and support ending free speech in America as long as it's not theirs. I was not like the fake news American media that supports every one of our country's enemy simply because it hates our president so much. No, I was an American, and I used my voice to support America and our allies. And I'm using my voice today to support our President, Donald Trump. I've been also using my voice as a weapon against oppression and to defend human rights all over the world. Especially freedom of religion in the Middle East, defending the persecuted Christians of Iraq and the persecuted Christians in the whole region. And as a Muslim Sunni, when ISIS entered Iraq back in 2014, and persecuted all the Christians in the country, I took a stand and I went on air and I wore a cross on solidarity of every Christian in the Middle East. It's been 6 years, I've been wearing it for 6 years, it became part of my personality and who I am. A few years ago, the Democrats in the Senate voted against the First Amendment. They would happily ban speech that they decide is hateful. The activist far left would love to criminalize speech they don't like. Because to them, their ideology is more important than what you think or what I think. Or if we object. If you don't have the freedom of speech, you don't have the freedom to think. In America, we take this freedom for granted. We don't know the value of the freedom of speech until we lose it. And now, we're very close losing it. We are an election away. I understand that it's like what it's like. And I will do everything I can, even run for Congress, to keep it from happening. After the United States deposed Saddam Hussein and his evil regime, I returned to Iraq to report from the Middle East. I've used my voice to support the freedom of peaceful protests in Iraq, in Iran, in Lebanon, and elsewhere, who are getting killed in the streets for opposing the Iranian dictatorship. But I think my voice is most important here in the United States, in the country that I love the most. I want my voice to be a warning to America against allowing the hate from the Middle East to come here, because I know it. I want to be the voice to warn America that Sharia law has no place here. I run away from it. I'm a Muslim and I know it, and I ran away from it, and I will not agree to have it here. So I'm warning you, everybody, there's a huge difference with being just a Muslim or being an Islamist, and we are at war. We are nothing without our freedom. We are nothing if we're not free to speak, if we're not free to think. I wanted to give back to this country that I love so much. I wanted to say thank you to this country that is my country now. It's my heart, and I've been here for 3 decades. If you want to know more about me, go to dahliaforcongress.com. And I want to tell you, I love this country, and I want to give back. That's why I'm running for Congress against Ilhan. We all should stand together and unite. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Liberty Ecosystem and OK Wave. Mission for Liberty Ecosystem. Objective 1. Supporting Nobel Peace Prize nominee Andy Chan through Liberty Token Liberations.
The time has come. The communists came to Hong Kong. There's corruption, and Hong Kong is no more safe, no more freedom. So we have to fight right now.
Donations in the U.S. will commence through Liberty Metro. OK Wave, a leading blockchain technology corporation. Liberty BC Vote is a web application that utilizes blockchain technology to allow users to record their vote securely. This platform has been developed by both OK Wave and OK Blockchain Center. Our polling system, Liberty VC Vote, allows users to record their ballots electronically without involving third parties. The ACU is using Liberty VC Vote for its year-round polling program. Stop by our demonstration to try it out.
Liberty, assent.
We are one vote, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God.
I support our country and I support our president, and he's the best president we've ever had.
I'm not in favor of open borders. I want a strong military, and he supports those things.
We will make America great again.
The left can't destroy the Electoral College without amending the Constitution, right? Not so fast. There's a campaign going on right now to hijack the Electoral College and rig presidential elections in their favor. It's called National Popular Vote, or NPV. The American founders rejected a national popular vote and created the Electoral College, where states represent their citizens in presidential elections. But NPV wants states to give away their electoral votes based on the nationwide popular vote. It's the left's way to make sure candidates